on my way home from the barn, and my brain starts to wander like usual. I'm a big thinker. You guys know this. I'm always like trying to get in my own head and into other people's heads, and like, how can I better serve you? How can I better help you? How can I better help myself? Help the world, help my family, help everybody. That's what I am. I'm a helper. But how can we help the world if we don't help ourselves? And so one realization for me, and I'm going to call you guys out here, love it or hate it, but this is what it is. For a very long time, I read all the books, I did all the free classes, I really tried to do all that I could do in terms of personal development, to try to get me out of my own head and out of my own way. And while I made some substantial progress within there, I kept butting up against this idea of the big leap, right? It's that glass ceiling. It's that thing that keeps us held back. It's when the thermometer goes too hot, it tries to go back to what's normal, what's homeostasis, what's the regular temperature that things are always at. So when things get heated, and you got to keep pushing past it, and rewire those beliefs, expand your consciousness, expand those belief systems that you have, or those barriers that really you've placed on yourself. And a lot of times this comes up in the form of self-sabotage. It comes up in the form of anger. It comes up in the form of blaming other people for things that have happened in our life. I was a big finger pointer. I would say, if you would just listen to me, except for I wasn't listening to myself. Or I would say things like, I knew this was going to happen. I knew something. It was too good to be true. I should have known better. Or sometimes I would just get so angry and say mean, hurtful things to whoever it was that was closest to me at that time, physically as close to me, which, came out on my family, my husband, my dogs, my close friends. And I would say really mean, hurtful things, and I would fall into that drama triangle, right? And it was all just forms of self-sabotage because I was pushing those upper limits. I had to take that big leap. And if you guys have ever read that book, The Big Leap, he talks about this a lot, where, people who come into millions of dollars in the lottery don't know how to have that kind of money. Their consciousness is not at that level. So what do? They spend. They splurge, and then they find themselves in a hole bigger than what they started with. And it's because of the upper limits. And it's really interesting because there's so many of you that I'm talking to that are like, I want change. I am so done. I am so done. And this is where I was at. I was so done. And, but at the same time, I wasn't willing to take that big leap. I wasn't willing to invest in myself. I wasn't willing to think outside the box. I thought I was, but I really wasn't. And it wasn't until I started working with, a coach a few years ago that I had such limiting beliefs around time and money. Those were the two things that always came up for me, was time and money. I'm like, I don't have time for this. I need this problem solved right now. I was always looking for that quick fix. I wasn't looking for something that was sustainable long term. I was looking for the next 30-day challenge. I was looking for the next freebie. I was looking for the next book or the next answer. It's got to be somewhere around the corner. And I just kept looking and looking and looking, still absorbing all of the information, but not really implementing it. And then when it came to money, I remember spending I think it was $300 on a DIY course. And I was like, oh man, this is a big, scary investment. Well, it wasn't big enough or scary enough because guess what? I never even fucking did the course. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do this other one because this is going to be the one for me. And of course, these ones were all DIY. There was really no a whole lot of skin in the game. I still had enough money on my credit card to not think twice about it. So then I ended up doing another program. I think it was $600 or $800. It was a DIY. And I was like, this is going to be the one that changes my life. It says it has accountability with it, and I'm going to do it. Well, guess what, guys? I did it, and nothing changed. I forgot all about the course about 2 days after I signed up for it. I think I maybe did a couple of weeks worth, actually. And if it wasn't for like the autoresponders that she had in her email thing, I probably would have forgot completely about it. Same thing with fitness. It's so funny because we will eat fast food and say we don't have time to take care of ourselves, blah, 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 blah. Or we don't have the money for a personal trainer, and they're like, what, $100 an hour or something? Or we don't have enough for a gym membership. Like, I remember when I first joined CrossFit, I thought $120 was a lot of money. God, was I naive. And if you're there and you're like, oh my gosh, $120 is a lot of money, it may be right now, but I'm telling you, once you start to like chronically invest in yourself and up level, you'll get to a point where you're like, $120 for a gym membership, like that's cheap, that's gold. And then you'll start spending, $120 on a personal trainer an hour or a session versus just like a month. But this is where things started to shift for me, is because when I had more skin in the game, then I really started to show up. When I really started to invest in those people who were willing to work with me in a group capacity or one-on-one capacity, not only did it have accountability, but like people were there to ask questions and like answer my specific questions, like pertaining to me. It wasn't just like a show up and do the course and, email me if you have something. And I remember the first time that I invested in like a high-end coach is what I'm going to call it. Because I've had coaches along the way. I've done, like you guys, you've been listening to me. And I'm just sharing my personal story. Hopefully this is relatable to you guys. I know there's so many of you that are reaching out that want to coach with me, and you're right on the fence, and this may be exactly what you need to hear. So this is where I was. And so I know how it feels. I know it can be scary. But I'm telling you, everything changes when you push past those fears. Time, you're never going to get more time. Like, you can never create more time. This entire time that you've been listening to this podcast, you're never going to get it back. Yeah, you can rewind and listen to this podcast, but that time is gone. Like, you cannot get that back. And then money, we both have the same opportunity to make more money right here, right now. There's nothing stopping us from making more money except for our own limiting beliefs, our own belief systems around money and the lack of. And so when you start to shift that to, there's always more around the corner, there's always that next commission, there's always that next sale, there's always that next paycheck. I can always increase my wealth and my ability to attract money to me. You can always increase that. You can always enhance that. That is always there at your fingertips because it is in the future. And guess what? You are the creator of your reality. So if you don't like something, you have the ability to change it. And this is where things really started to shift for me, is I got on the phone with this woman. You guys may know who I'm talking about. You may not. Anyways, I didn't really know what I was getting myself into. Like I said, I had done these DIY courses. I had invested a little bit here and there. I had spent a couple $100 here or there on a coach or therapy or whatever. But there wasn't anything that like truly scared me in terms of investment. I was like, all right, whatever, I'll put it on the credit card. Okay, whatever, I'll put it on the credit card. I didn't really have to like think outside the box in terms of like, how can I? So anyways, I got on the phone with this woman. I didn't know what the fuck I was getting myself into. I really didn't. I just knew that like what she had is what I wanted, and I didn't know how else to get it. And it seemed like she had the answers and she could help me, and she had been there and she had done that. And that's what I want to gift to people. It's like the gift that keeps on giving. And without her, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys. You guys wouldn't be here listening to this and working on, creating your dream life. Anyway, so I get on the phone with her, and man, I was sweating and I was like freaking out, and I'm like, God, is this like normal? Like, I feel like I'm losing my mind. And so then we start talking about like all of the things that come up, and I'm like, I just don't know if I have any time to work on this. And she's like, well, you can either work on this now or you can try and work on it later, kind of thing. It's like, if you don't pay attention to your health now, you sure as shit are going to be having to pay attention to it later when you're on your freaking deathbed in the hospital. And it's the same thing with personal development and like your what you're going after with your hopes and your dreams, right? Like, if you don't deal with it now, if you don't go after it now while you're young and healthy and have the energy or the ability to create more energy, you're going to feel like that person in a nursing home when you're 70 or 80 years old saying, man, I really wish I would have taken that chance when I was younger. Like, I don't know why I was so afraid. And these are the people who you see living out their dream life. They're the ones who are out there. They are happy and they are healthy and they are doing the things that they want to do. So anyways, I'm like, all right, I'm in, let's do it. And then we talked about price, and I about shit my freaking pants. I could not believe it. I was thinking a few $100 for like the whole thing, right? Like I was just so naive when it came to like what an investment with working with a coach or in a program was. And so she told me the amount, and it was several $1,000s, not just like $1,000 or $2,000. It was several $1,000s. Okay. And I was like, fucking A, man, like this is insane. But at the same time, I was like, dang, like I want to be able to help people on this level at some point. And me, since I'm kind of like a people pleaser, like I didn't have the money at that time. I had such a poor money mindset. Like I was like in my head, like how many different credit cards can I put this on? Like that's how I was thinking. I did not know what a wealth mindset was. I didn't know what an abundance mindset was. Yes, I had been practicing the law of attraction for several years, but that was helping me like manifest things in my physical reality. But which is amazing. Don't get me wrong. I love all things law of attraction and manifestation, but without the mindset piece, you still feel like there's something missing, right? Like that soul ache is still kind of there, and it's like, oh, follow the breadcrumbs. So anyways, I was like, holy shit, like, are you kidding me? And, I'm like, I have to do it. Like there's something inside of me that like tells me like I have to do it. I just have to make it happen. And so she's like, well, how would you like to pay for that? And I'm like, a credit card? Am I going to do this? But like, I didn't want to tell her like how bad of a money situation I was in. I didn't want her to know that I was like working on financial freedom, but I was still like up to debt to my freaking eyeballs. I didn't want to tell her that I didn't know how to manage money. I mean, and I did on like a very basic sense, you guys. Like I did on a very basic sense. But at the same time, like I still was racking up debt. I was still living paycheck to paycheck, even though I was making like six figures. It was just insane, like my poor money mindset. And so anyways, I was like, all right, let's just do it. Let's see what happens. Let's just fuck it. Like what's the worst that could happen? That's just kind of the attitude that I went in with it, and my husband was not on board. He like flipped out about it and was like, you're not joining that program. You're not doing that. And I was like, okay, well, now that you told me I'm not, now I 100% am. And I'm going to show you what change really looks like. Okay. And that's just kind of how I roll. I'm like a rebel like that. And I know not everybody can relate to that, but it was like time to shit or get off the pot for me. And if people weren't going to be supportive of me, I was just like, at that time, I'm like, whatever, I'm going to prove you wrong. Like I was all about proving people wrong. And here I am still proving people wrong, still proving myself wrong. And I don't really give a shit, who I prove wrong or not anymore. I'm just living my best life, and I have big goals. I have big dreams, and I have my blinders on, and I want to help you guys do the same. I want you to come along for the ride. I got big things coming, and I would love for you guys to be a part of it. And I would love to have you do the same thing for yourself, whatever that looks like, right? Like the sky's the limit. I tell people this all the time. I was talking to one of my clients today, and I'm like, dream bigger, man. Like do it, dream bigger. And she's like, you're right. I just need to give myself permission to like do the things I really want to do. And I'm like, absolutely. And now let's find a way to make it happen. Like let's manifest that shit. But anyways, I didn't want her to know, this coach that I was investing in, like how broke I really was. And I know it sounds stupid to say like broke when I was making so much money, but like I was. Every time I made more money, I spent more money. I had such a terrible mindset around like time and energy and money and all the things. And so now I find that that's like a big thing that I like to teach other people, is how they can use the law of attraction, but how they can also create more capacity to do the things that they want to do, more capacity with time, more capacity with energy, more capacity with money, more capacity with mindset, more capacity with growing their business, and really how you can have an abundance mindset in all areas of life. It doesn't just have to be this, I can't, my husband's not on board, my family's not on board, how can I? There was one client that came back, and she's signed up for a second round, and she goes, Sasha, the first time I worked with you, I didn't know how I was going to make it happen. But I just knew that like I had to have you in my life. And I was like, well, I appreciate you, trust in the process. And, guys, I'm just a human. I'm going to help you find a way to make it happen. And anyway, she goes, I kid you not, as soon as I signed up, she goes, I got a check in the mail for the exact amount that the program was. And it was just, she was trusting, and the same thing happened this last time. She goes, Sasha, I knew I could make at least one payment and I didn't know how the rest of it was going to look, but I just knew how much you changed my life the first time that I had to come back for a second round. And she goes, and I kid you not, a week after I signed up, I got a check in the mail for almost the exact same amount of what the program is. And you guys, I have a million different, actually not a million, but I have several stories that I could tell you that were very similar for myself and for people that I'm working with. And so if this is something that you want to do, if coaching with somebody or being a part of this program, whether it's me or whether it's somebody else, like this is me just giving you permission to do the things that you want and let go of the excuses or the limiting beliefs around time, around money, or around energy, or whatever else comes up. Like if it's something that you want to do in your core, in your gut, in your everything that you believe within yourself, if you want a community, if you want to be around like-minded women, if you want to be challenged, if you want to have the best relationships, if you want to have an abundant mindset, then let's find a way to make it happen. Like this is me telling you that yes, you can find a way. You don't have to have all of the who's and what's and how's figured out. That's not how the law of attraction works. That's not how trusting the process works. That's being a control freak. And how far has that gotten you? Probably angry, anxious, frustrated because things aren't going the way that you want them to. But I don't know if you know this. Not everybody lives in your world. And so you have to co-create your world with the universe, right? With the other people. With your life, with everything in your life. And when you can learn to let go of the things that you don't have control over, life gets a whole lot easier and things start to flow into your life that were supposed to be there a long time ago, but you were pushing them away by being a control freak. When I've learned to let go of my need to control everything, and I'm not kidding you, like I wanted to control not only my schedule, but my husband's schedule and my household schedule and the trips that I wanted to control everything. That's why I was always like the leader or the boss or the supervisor, because I was like, we're going to do things my way. And while that got me far in my career, it got me very burnt out and exhausted in my physical, mental, spiritual, emotional body. Okay. And so when I started to let go and trust the process and focus on the things that I wanted to create in my life versus the lack of the things that I had in my life, that's when my life really started to shift. And I was challenged. I was asking for a challenge, and a woman showed up in my life and challenged me in a way that I didn't even know that was possible. And you guys, I'll just be totally transparent with you. I made that first few $1,000 investment. I honestly didn't know how the heck I was going to make it happen because I'm like, I am strapped so tight, but it made me push myself in ways that I had never done before. It made me expand my consciousness. And so this is why I'm able here to teach you guys to the level that I am now, is because I continue to push myself. I continue to grow. And then the next year, I joined another group and I joined another group. And now I'm to the point where I am investing in 5+ figure, like tens and twenties of thousands of dollars of masterminds, which I never thought was ever possible in my life. And it's even like weird to say that out loud. Like I feel like I'm going to be judged for it. But I want to keep pushing my limits. I want to keep like growing and learning and seeing what else is out there. And I have really big goals. And if you have big goals, you gotta go big, right? And so I'm just done with excuses. I'm done with limiting beliefs, and I want to work with people who are the same, right? They're just like, I'm done with excuses. I want to have all the things that my heart desires. I have a great life, or maybe you have a shit life. I don't know, but you know that there's more, but you're not really sure how to get it. Let me be the one to show you. I don't know of a better success story than my own, you guys. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I was a total shithead growing up. You know that I come from a family of divorced parents. You know that I've done a lot of drugs. I've drank a lot. I've spent a lot of time in jail. But I've also got a college education. A couple different, I actually have several degrees and several certifications, and I rose to the top of the companies that I've worked for, and I've gotten every award or certification for top performance that you could possibly imagine. Like, I am a go-getter, and when I focused my energy on good versus bad, my life started to change, right? So when I took that focus from, oh, my life is shit, and like, I'm just gonna be like this person who's always in trouble, blah, blah, blah. Because let me tell you, when I got in trouble, like, I made it a big thing. Like, it wasn't like, oh, just little old me over here, just getting whatever. No, like, I wrecked 2 cars because I was drinking and driving. Like, I was being really freaking stupid. And I'm just telling you that if you put that same amount of energy that you do in not doing something into something that you could be creating something really, really beautiful in your life. So don't let your limiting beliefs, don't let your spouse's limiting beliefs, don't let your family's limiting beliefs or your career or whatever is coming up, time, energy, money, don't let that be something that stops you. If money is an issue, let's find a way to make you more money. If time is an issue, let's create more capacity for you to do the things that you wish to do in your life. Okay? Let me show you the way. I am a human. I have been there. I have done it. I'm continuing to do it. That's one of the biggest things that I have to say is if you guys are looking for a coach, whether it's with me or somebody else, make sure that person is practicing what they preach, because I've been duped. I'm not shitting you. I won't even get into the story. But I've been duped. Let's just say that I spent a lot of money, like thousands of dollars a month on a coaching program, thinking that it would help me do some things, and I was duped, right? Because she wasn't practicing what she was preaching. It was basically spitting things out of a book that she had read that wasn't... I hope you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. I don't want to like bash anybody, because I know everybody's out there just trying to do the best they can with what they have, but just make sure that you do your research. Like, talk to people, do reviews, make sure you have a conversation with that person before you invest in them, invest in me, whatever. Like, and that's why I do the calls with people, because I want you to know that I'm a real person. Like, every person I ever work with has to book a clarity call with me to see if we're a good fit, because I'm not just going to have a bunch of people coming into my world and not doing the work, right? I don't want one bad review ever. And I guess, it will happen. Actually, it's happened before. Not in the coaching industry, but like, in other worlds. And that sucks. And I don't want to be that person. I want to have the opportunity to correct it. And I want to be real and open and honest and let you know that I am a person and that I am right there with you. I'm just, maybe a few steps farther ahead. I am, the expert when it comes to law of attraction. I am the expert when it comes to manifestation. And, I have lots of experience with the brain piece too. I love psychology and like how the mind works and like getting inside your head and figuring out why you have those limiting beliefs or why you're having those relationship issues, why it is that you can't keep money. Let me help you. I can help you. So anyways, that's my spiel for this evening. I've been there too. And just know that when you start to up level, when you start to be challenged, when you start to think something's impossible, prove yourself wrong, because nothing's impossible. Nothing's impossible. You think you can't afford a few $1,000? I bet you can. I bet you can. And then once you do it, you're going to go back again to something else even bigger and better. And you're going to be like, remember that one time I only spent this much money? Then you're going to laugh and slap your knee and then go up level again and up level again and up level again. It's a pretty cool process once you get going. The momentum creates more momentum. And if your group isn't challenging you, if they aren't pushing you to be that best version of yourself, if they aren't asking you the hard questions, then I suggest that you find those people, hire those people, get into those people's arenas, right? That's what I do. Anytime that I'm like, ooh, I like what she's doing. How can I invest in her program? How can I be part of her circle? And I don't even get hung up on the money anymore, like ever. Like money is not even like a thing. I mean, and that's why I love talking about it, because I'm so like disconnected from like lack. I'm like, oh, that's a thing that I want. How can I make it happen? And you can do the exact same thing, and I can show you exactly how to do that. It's not an art, it's a science. It's a science. And if I can do it, I guarantee that you can do it. That's a pretty bold guarantee, but I'm telling you, you can do it. So if you've been thinking about coaching with me and you're on the fence, hopefully this helped you kind of figure out which direction you want to go. And if you haven't had a conversation with me yet, I encourage you to send me an email, support@sashadavis.com. We will send you, me or someone on my team will send you a link to my calendar. Otherwise, you can always head over to my website. There is an application to work with me. Otherwise, you can definitely join the mastermind. The mastermind is a collective community / coaching program. So there's the community piece, but there's also a coaching piece to it. So it's kind of a hybrid mastermind, and I have enrollment open until the end of October if you're looking for that. Otherwise, if you want one-on-one support, definitely hit me up. Let's have a conversation, see if it's a good fit, and we'll go from there. Like, if it works, great. If it doesn't, great. You know, and I always say if it's a no now, doesn't mean that it's not a no later. But I do definitely want to push you that time is of the essence, right? How much longer are you going to put your dreams on hold? How long have you been having this conversation with yourself? And do you want to continue to have this conversation with yourself a year from now? And a lot of you are going to be like, nope, I don't. So let me show you how. This is my invitation to you, and I hope it resonates. So I look forward to hearing from you. And as always, if you need anything, you guys know where to find me. Catch you next time. Thanks for listening to the Sasha Davis podcast. For more information on personal and professional development, we've created a master list of all of the resources discussed in the podcast and the blog. So head on over to sashadavis.com/resources for our full list.